Hi everyone, my name's Max Peterson. I'm the CEO of Smith & Sons here in Canada, and our head office is in the Okanagan Valley, and it's almost spring, and so we're really looking forward to another big year and of course getting to the lakes and enjoying what we like to do here. Look, the reason, today I want to just quickly chat. If you're a homeowner or you've someone who is looking to maybe build a custom home or a renovation, I really want to just quickly chat. I feel like when I'm running these podcasts, especially when it's just me by myself, I feel like, okay, so I want to bring value to our audience, and a lot of the way I do that is I kind of just feel like I'm talking to my mum, trying to give her advice about how to go about recruiting or procuring the services of a general contractor, because it is quite the minefield. So, but what I'm going to talk about specifically today is the dangers of being what I call a DIY GC. And of course, the motivation around building your own home, doing your own renovation is to save money. And, when I have clients that ring us on the phone here and we get, dozens and dozens of inquiries about projects every month to head office here. And, when they sort of talk to me about, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, but I wanted to talk to you guys and just kind of maybe do a price comparison or whatever. I think, I've actually, when I came to this town about 6 years ago, I worked for a gentleman. I may even get Roy on the show one day, but, he had a situation where he was doing his own home and I was working for him as just an hourly rate carpenter. And, he come to me one day and he come to me and said, this hardware company just cancelled my order today and put me off for 2 days. And he said, I can't believe that they do that. And yet for me, being an industry professional, having worked in the game now, this will be my 32nd year, I had to just sort of say to Roy, I said, look, man, this is the challenge of being a DIY general contractor. You've got other general contractors that really, work on these projects or have multiple projects a year with multiple projects on the go at any one time. And they are going to get priority by the hardware companies because they just do a lot more business than, Roy did one job and that's it. So, I'm going to talk about, really in light of that, just to try and bring, look, if you're ready to grab the tiger by the tail, then, I wish you all the best. But maybe I just want to put a bit of a stone in your shoe and give you something to think about. And then maybe this will save you, or maybe it'll help you, or maybe when you get into it, at least you knew what was coming when you went out there and did it. So, I think, where I want to start is the industry dynamics and the attitudes. Really, that's sort of the macro. It's the overarching challenge you're going to find is dealing with the dynamics of the industry and the attitudes of the human beings within the industry. And, those sorts of things can have a fairly significant impact. One high risk, thing that you've got to consider, and I think everybody does, this is probably the first thing that they do consider, is cost overruns. I think if you're out there doing your own thing, it's really difficult. Square foot costs are really just what we would call is an indicative price. Anyone that just quotes off the back of a square foot rate is someone that's taken a big chance. What we would do is we might use that as a starter, and then we would cross-check by having, built an estimate in our software. And so, cost overruns are all, is a big risk. That's the first and foremost, thing that you've got to consider. I think, and leading on to the service by both suppliers and tradespeople, in very similar situations to what I just explained with Roy. I think that not only will you get disrespect from hardware companies, and I'm not saying this is every hardware company, not at all. I think if you've had some sort of long-standing relationship with a supplier, or you've got somebody who's on the inside there, then obviously you're probably not going to experience this. But I would suspect that there'd be a large percentage of people that will go into being their do-it-yourself general contractor who will get bit by the lack of service from different trades and suppliers. I think potentially, I think that suppliers have definitely a more of a professional outlook. So when we talk about, being disrespected, you might find that you'll get more disrespect from, certain trades within, the build process that you're undertaking. Again, these guys are in it for the money. generally speaking, they're not in it to build a brand, so they don't have, sales processes, and they don't have different protocols within their business. They're not very value focused towards a client. They're very much, I'll do an hour's work, you give me an hour's pay. And so they're very much in it for themselves, which you don't blame them, because they are just subject to the system. And so, if you get bad service from a tradesperson, it's just, I've had one situation where one of my builders within the Smith & Sons group had a plumber sorted out to go to a job. And on the way to that job, he got called up for I think it was a hot water system repair or remove and replace. And he literally dropped the job that he was going to do for one of my builders to go and do that hot water repair because the money was better. Fact, that is a real story. And so it's not just, DIY general contractors or homeowners doing their own thing that will get disrespected by suppliers. I've had situations where my own, general contractors and operators have been disrespected as well. So, I think further to that, warranty issues, if you take on the responsibility of supplying the thousands and thousands of items that go into building a home, both structural and non-structural, you're going to be the one responsible for following up with the manufacturer in the event that there is a failure. I think one of the benefits working with a general contractor like Smith & Sons is that they are the one-stop shop. Matter of fact, they're the one-stop shop for design, they're the one-stop shop for planning, and then the one-stop shop for construction, and also the one-stop shop for any kind of warranty issues or any kind of failures that might happen post-construction. So, it's, and unfortunately we see it, manufacturers aren't perfect. If you've ever ordered anything on Amazon, I'm sure you'll, there'll be stories that you know of where something's arrived, which is incomplete, which is, wasn't manufactured like it should have been. And then you've got to handle it and go back to the manufacturer or have it returned and go through all the rigmarole. So, if you've got to do that on half a dozen fronts and you're trying to maybe raise a family, or you're trying to do life, or you've got a job, or you run your own business, then you're going to find your life become very complicated, and it's terribly frustrating. There was one situation that in my early days, I was working as a framing carpenter, and I had one client, we just started her frame or her house, and she come in and said, "Oh, it's so good to finally see someone." And I did notice that all of the lumber that was on site had a tinge of grey. So I knew that, and of course there was some grass that was growing and things like that. And I thought, this has been sort of waiting for a while. And of course we were very, very busy. And, she said to me, well, I went with this company, who I was contracting to as a carpenter. It wasn't my company. I went with them because they were about $35,000 or $40,000 cheaper, which you can understand why you would do that. She said, you know what she said to me? She said that I now, having waited 3 months to finally see framing carpenters on site, I would have paid that guy $35,000 or $40,000 more, because I would already be 3/4 finished my home if we had have gone that way. And so, I think sometimes when you as the homeowner or the DIY GC, if you're considering going that route and you're only focused on price and on saving dollars, I think it's very much tunnel vision. I think it's a very dangerous situation, because the outcome could be significantly different to what you thought it might have been. Because all you were looking was on the financial upside, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm just trying to, I guess this is an awareness program. It's just to bring to your awareness some of the challenges that you may face. I think a lot of homeowners who are considering going into the DIY GC thing, especially if they're first timers, they will have a significant lack of understanding and certainly not have the experience in the coordination of trades and suppliers. I know who did I chat with the other day? I think it was our guy out of Nanaimo, and we got talking about this, and he made mention that some of his trades just flatly refuse to work for DIY general contractors because they feel like that they get misunderstood. So it's very much you have this push and pull. Even there's tradespeople that just refuse to work for anyone who is not a builder or not a general contractor. And so, again, that's just bringing to your awareness the fact that there is some contempt, I guess, that some of the trades have. If you make a phone call and say, hey, Mr. Plumber, I need you to come and give me a quote, on all the plumbing scope of works, and he asks you, are you a builder or are you a DIY GC? You might find that there'll be some rejection there. And so, I think that's just through lack of education. And look, it is a very, not only is there a lot of components that go in and make up a house or a renovation, but there's a lot of things to coordinate on the fly. And I think where a lot of our guys, why they do it super well, and if you haven't already, I'd encourage you to visit the smithandsons.ca website, and there's easily 8 to 10 video testimonials of clients' experiences going through the process with Smith & Sons. And I think that just comes down to the general contractors. They just know what is coming down the pipeline as far as that project's concerned. They know that, there's certain trades that you can run simultaneously, but then there's other trades that you have to run in series. Like you can't run the drywaller at the same time as you're running the electrician. I know that's obvious, but there is other subtleties within the building process that only a general contractor who's done it for many, many years and has got a proven track record is going to know about. No amount of HGTV is going to be able to reveal that to you. So, that's some of the challenges. And obviously when you sort of fast forward and you've wrestled your way through a project and then there is the deficiency list and the punch list and the things that maybe haven't been finished, or you've had a plumber that's got 75% of the way or 90% of the way through the project, and there's just those little things. All of a sudden there's the blame game that starts to happen, and everyone is really defending their position, and it's just not conducive to a project that runs smoothly. And I'm telling you, when you watch those video testimonials, those clients, and I'm so proud of my guys for being able to put out, the type of work that they do. It is an absolute testimony to their ability to coordinate and to really look after the customers and the clients' concerns and everything that they value. And at the same time, be able to obviously run a profitable, high performance building company as well. And so, I think that's, there's nothing personal, I think, but it's just, I think you got to really, what I'd encourage you to do is to think about where the value is for you. And if you're just price orientated, I think that's really, you're really setting yourself up for a challenging build process. I think you've all heard the saying, you get what you pay for. I'd encourage you to, we're a franchise brand, and all of our guys are recruited, in it through a very stringent process. And I think if you were to look for Smith & Sons everywhere, and you were to, go to all of the fairly common social platforms, we're going to be there. And I think, as well as Google reviews, as well as, the video testimonials on the website, if you're going to go down that path as a DIY GC, then you're going to need to recruit good tradespeople the same way that I recruit good general contractors within the Smith & Sons brand. But if you're not going to do that, and you're sort of stepping back, and you understand that you get what you pay for, then it comes down to you recruiting the right general contractor. And again, you get what you pay for. And so, I think, I would strongly consider, look, I think it's a great adventure. Going and doing your own project and having the fulfillment. Heck, I used to swing hammers for a living, and now I sit in an office. And it's remarkably less satisfying on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I love the fact that we're really making a difference in, individuals' lives who come on board as operators with Smith & Sons. And of course, the difference that the guys make in the clients' lives is remarkable. But that's very, very much a long-term game. I do miss the creation, the creating and building and all that sort of thing, where you can drive away from a project and look over your shoulder and know that you'd put that home together with your own bare hands. And I think, so I think it's a wonderful experience for you to do that. But if you haven't been brought up in the culture and the industry itself, and then you've watched some TV shows and you've Googled some stuff and you think you're in a position to do it, I would be ready to flex and pivot and learn on the fly very, very quickly. And so what I do is, look, I'm happy, if you're considering doing this and you've got some questions, I'd be more than happy to just, briefly answer some of your questions real quick. If you want to email me directly at max@smithandsons.ca, more than happy to respond to you in good time. Just give me a bit of time because we are busy. But We don't want to see clients or people going out there and, maybe making the wrong decision and doing something that's actually going to do some long-term damage to them, financially or otherwise. And so, but if you like what you hear, give us a thumbs up, share the content maybe or this show with somebody who you might know that might benefit from this. But we really appreciate your ear, and we really hope that this sort of information goes a long way to helping you in your build process. So we appreciate it. Have a great day.